Vici in game number 3, they have swapped sides once again, so Snake will be on the blue side of Summoner's Rift, where Vici will be taking to the red side of Summoner's Rift. Shen, the first ban that comes out from Snake, as well as Tom Kent, where his Gangplank being banned out once more from Vici.
Surprise, surprise, Fondre will never get his hands on that champion again. See if they're going to priority pick the Malzahar because they do have blue side this time, or if they will just ban it away.
There you go.
As the Malzahar is going to be banned out by Snake here. They do not want Easy to get his hands on that champion again. It's already another adaptation to pick commands from Snake. So far though, Vici still going for the Rex side ban on blue side. Last time on red side. Last time on red side they banned out the Na as their final ban.
Last game, when they were on blue side, they threw the final ban at Tank and that Talia, and it will be back at Talia again.
So I like this ban. The Lissandra still stands. You have to expect that Tank will be locking that one in as a denial from EasyHoon, given they banned the Malzahar. Karma's still also present though. So there is definitely options available for both mid laners. It feels like that's actually a better decision.
Echo's going to be locked in first for Snake here, taking that one away from Lung on the top side of the map. You mentioned that one of these two picks have to give, and it seems like both have gone, Rusty.
And the big thing that Rusty was setting up there is the fact that there's options for the mid lane counterplay on both sides. The Vladimir is possible. That should mean that Tank will probably go towards that Karma, as that's the favorite pickup in the LPL to counter this champion. But again, this is a champion that's been perma-banned away from easyHoon.
Yep. Snake have banned it twice so far in this series alone. And it's going to get locked in. It can still be flex for Lung on the top side of the map, but should be easyHoon's pick up here. Interested to see what they're going to complement this Vladimir pick during their first pick rotation.
Yeah, you don't play Vladimir into Echo, you'd have a pretty bad time. Definitely should be mid lane. Of course, this is the other thing that I was going to mention. 100% Endless should be getting this Ashe.
And he does get it as they lock it in for him.
I'm actually not too confident on the high priority. Like, don't get me wrong. I totally agree that Ashe is a very key pick right now. I think she's the best of any of the 80 carries. I like the fact that it's an early rotation. But the fact that Gragas is still available, the fact that Sivir works really well with Vladimir, I just think that there are other options, and they might be not pigeonholing themselves, but leaving themselves exposed a little bit in the 2v2 now that that matchup has been picked so early.
For what it's worth, I don't trust Endless on anything other than Ashe right now.
True.
But I do trust him on Ashe. I would expect that a Gragas would be looked at, even a Braum perhaps from the side of Snake in this next rotation.
I think Gragas almost needs to be rotated here unless SOFM really wants to get a counter matchup.
Still waiting to see what the next two picks from Snake are going to be heading into this match. Like we said, Lissandra still left open. SOFM has all the jungle champions of his choice available to him, but instead they lock in the Lissandra as well as the Sivir, which Crystal played in game 1.
So not going towards the Karma, which is again the favorite for the matchup into Vladimir. So Tank going back to comfort, as well as Crystal going back to a lot of comfort.
Shocking Braum hover.
Everyone's surprised.
That's why I think Snake should have taken it. Again, not respecting what Vici can have now. The Tom Kench gone means that Braum's probably the next best option for the Ashe lane in terms of strength and to what Vici want to have. A bit of disengage and a lot of tankiness to bolster their ranks now. Dandy can afford to play a carry one more time.
I just feel like Vici are getting absolutely everything that they want.
It seems like the coach had to step in there for Vici and kind of point out to easyHoon where Gragas was, as he locks that one instantly. So Dandy will be taking that one into the jungle. They take the Braum away, denying that counter pick, the pseudo counter pick I should say, to Gragas, and also giving it to Caveman as a supportive choice.
Just empowers Siege so much. I think Gragas is S-tier jungler, always will be.
So it may be a hover, it may not get locked in, but it's also a counter to Vladimir. The second Vlad uses his Hemo Plague, you press your ultimate, and it diffuses the damage that you can actually put out.
Snake are one of the few teams that do play Taric. Again, if you've been watching a lot of global League of Legends, Taric likes to pop up quite often, especially in the LCK. And the LPL, not at all. We do not play him over here. It's only been played, I believe, 2 or 3 times and not to any success.
And it's going to get locked in for JC as his supportive choice, and they complement it with a Graves pickup.
Now, so rounding out their entire team composition now, Snake, they've got that go button, but I question their engage tools. However, we saw Tank actually quite effectively engaging on the Lissandra. It is a lot of onus on their mid laner, however, and there's a lot of pressure now on him.
Does give the final pick for Vici to the top lane, Lung, and he decides to show Fondre how to play this matchup as he takes the Na into the Echo.
We will see if he shows him how to play this matchup. Fondre was still a good Na, as was Lung in Echo, so they swapped top laners, Now that we get to see Vici's team composition, it still feels a little bit pick-based to me.
Yeah, and again, I think it's that early rotation of the Ashe, but definitely prioritizing that champion. Def said in an interview after EDG beat RNG yesterday that Ashe just has what he feels are better matchups against the 3 top 80 carries. So there's Ashe, there's Sivir, and there's Jen. Ashe obviously able to pop the spell shield with the volley before she nails you in the face with the arrow. Jen, if he sets up his ultimate, paints a pretty big target on his back to eat that arrow as well. So still have a very strong 2v2 lane on the bottom side, especially in tandem with Braum.
We'll have to see how they're going to be able to use these champions here. This time round, Snake have changed up their draft once again, taking away the 2 solo lane picks from Vici, which they used to great success in games number 1 and 2. And Vici have changed their composition drastically as well heading into this 3rd match.
Yeah, a lot of changes, honestly, from both of these teams now, but it's really important for Snake that they start on the right foot in this game. They want to snowball with this comp.
Going to be interesting to see how they get that snowball rolling. They've got a Taric pickup as well, something we, like you mentioned, Frosker, and don't see very often in the LPL.
We have so many mixed roster teams, and Taric, I feel like, is really about communication to time that ultimate well, just because there is the delay before the invulnerability happens. And LPL teams are far more reactive than they are proactive, and I feel like Taric really rewards proactive teams. I mean, it makes sense from a dive perspective. You know, we're about to dive this tower, throw on the Taric ultimate and just run at it, but it never seems to be used like that.
Seems like it's a very reactive ultimate used when it gets in the hands of LPL supports.
Which is so weird because they normally like to run forward and be the primary engagement.
Yeah, that is a little bit interesting. Of course, it doesn't surprise me too much when Snake or someone lock it in.
What will be interesting to me is how they play out the 2v2 on the bottom side. Now, Taric and Sivir can catch a lot of people off guard. Obviously, if that stun is able to lock down 2 people. So check out how they use Fog of War, particularly around the bushes, to see if they can get a cheeky stun lined up from a blind side for Vici.
We can check in and see if they're going to be able to do just that. Vici looking like they want to try and close out this best 5 series as early as they possibly can. Snake, if they want to fight back and start their run to head to the World Championship, it has to be right now. They have to get the reverse sweep against Vici and then try to take down not only Team WE, but IMA as well later on in this tournament.
Something that's nice about Snake's composition is they have a lot of bridging power points. You have the Sivir that will take over the late game. You have the Lissandra that can take over in the mid game, as well as then the power of Graves and SOFM in particular on that champion that can really dominate an early game. So I like all of the balancing acts that they have. There's never going to be a point at the game where Snake will be weak, whereas on the other side, Vici are kind of more all in on their 5v5 as well as their late game potential.
Unfortunately, it seems like there's a couple of technical difficulties coming on from one of the players before we head into this match, but those have been resolved because we're about to head on to Summoner's Rift for game number 3 between Snake and Vici.
Do or die moment for Snake. 0-2 down, Vici 2-0 up. They have to kick this one off right. They have to find the victory or they are just done.
And the starting dragon will not be an Infernal. We've broken the chain.
Hallelujah.
It is going to be that Mountain Drake. So early game. Gnar versus Echo. Need to be paying attention about who's going to get the superior push there. I would initially give it to Echo, just because he also has superior ability for kind of 1v1 or at least outmaneuvering 1v1 trades. The
Keystone Master is actually quite important there as well. If there's Grasp of the Undying, then there's the chance that Fervor of Battle from the Gnar will do more damage overall. So it depends on how Flandre makes the trades and starts them, or if Lung can outplay him.
It's also very important to check on what spell Vladimir starts and how he'll get the initial shove. If he doesn't pick correctly, champions with pushing power like Talia and Lissandra can take over the initial early levels of the lane.
It's Crystal and Jay-Z trying to get a couple of wards down towards the river, even one in their bottom lane brush, just to try and spot out if Endless and Caveman try to do anything cheeky at level 1. But gentleman's agreement from both the junglers and the AD carries and supports comes out from the 2 teams, as Danny will start on his red buff. We'll see SFM start on his blue buff, and both the carries will take down a camp at level 1.
Yeah, once again, buff starts. Nobody going for the Gromp, no one starting with Krugs because they want to give them to the opposite of their bottom lanes.
And there you go, those are the Keystone Masteries being picked up. Here's Grasp of the Undying coming out for both the Echo as well as the Gnar. Strength of the Ages coming out for the Vladimir as well, just to get the extra health from cannon minions.
And easyhoon already taking full control of this lane, threatening with that stacked up blood resource to make sure they can get the superior trade.
As we check in with the bottom side of the map, Jay-Z taking a lot of poke early on, but just pops potions and tries to keep himself healthy.
Wow.
He's getting stunned up though, Endless trying to chase him down. Already a good trade coming out from Vici's bottom lane.
Taric, huh? It's one of those champions that is very stun reliant, doesn't have a lot of lane pressure, so you'd expect that once again Ash and Braum that win most lanes should win this one quite hard. However, this is where Siva comes into play.
Jay-Z getting locked down again, going to get hit by the concussive blows. Caveman will lock him down. Endless gets some good damage off on towards the Taric, already chugging through all of his health potions to start off this match.
It's the difference between windows. The fact that, like Rusty said, I mean, Taric's really reliant on that stun, so when the stun is down, you know that you have a massive window to punish him, whereas Braum, those don't exist for him. Yes, he has his Winter's Bite, and if he throws that out, it sucks, but he can also just slap you in the face with his auto attacks and pick up his concussive blows, so he does not have the same cooldown window limitations that Taric does.
Spotted early here, Dandy, as well. He went over vision, just above where you're looking at him now on the map. And so because Snake can ping him out, watch the way SOFM now tries to move and take everything that he can from the enemy jungle.
First off, he's taking down the Krug camp. Sorry, not the Krug camp, the Scuttle camp, and pings immediately towards the Krugs.
Going towards the Krug camp,
yep,
but will be spotted out.
That's his favorite jungle monster. He wants to take that down. Dandy's doing the exact same thing on the bottom side of his jungle.
Does it predictably as well in terms of timing. The ward will always be placed at around 3 minutes.
It's easier getting a good trade in this mid lane against Tank. Tank still has a potion, but easier and does have that Doran shield as well as a single potion of his own. Still being incredibly aggressive towards the Slandra, even forcing the Claw to come out from Tank to get himself back to safety.
He's showing how confident he is in this matchup. Again, this champion never falls into his hands. That was cute.
The Raptors strike back.
There are many places that Flandre also could have teleported, but he chose the ward next to the lane. Almost as a revealing feature that the ward is there.
And still uses the teleport to get back towards the top side of the map. Long yet to go back to base or use his teleport.
This is good from Dandy though. He's one step ahead of SOFM, who's now about to find those wards. But it also means that he has an opportunity to move here, Dandy.
Does have the Raptor sense, so we'll clear out those wards. Both junglers have gone back to base, upgraded into the Tracker's Knife, so we'll be able to provide a little bit of extra vision for their team.
And take a look at SOFM right now. So the fact is that he has the Raptor sense procced by the immediate ward from Dandy, but knowing that Dandy's in his jungle, he immediately falls back and checks for the pink ward, finds it in that rush underneath his red and clears it out.
The tides have turned slightly in this mid lane, as easyhoon's now the one that is taking a lot of damage from Tank, who has gone back to base, picked up that second Doran's ring for himself, used the teleport to get straight back into the mid lane.
So that's the major difference, is the recall and teleport advantage that Tank's going to have. So he should have more lane pressure, should have more lane control. It is hard to push a Vladimir out of a lane at all, and he will be able to stay here for at least a while. Depends on when he wants to go back, because no lane control means that SOFM can invade and Tank can rotate.
They're dead even in CS for the moment. Slowly though, easyhoon getting denied minion after minion as SOFM makes his way towards the Krugs again. Finds Dandy, but Paralock Verge coming out from Flandre, forcing the Dragons to flash away from SOFM.
Yeah, really good movements from Flandre in particular.
And Tank's also joining them as he's now being chased off by easyhoon.
SOFM just continues, takes away as many camps as possible.
This is exactly what Snake needed in game number 1 and 2. They like to play push on the top side of the map, and they like to contest over the red buff, or red buff area.
SOFM just an incredibly aggressive jungler. Dandy wants to come and contest for this Raptor. SOFM knows he doesn't have the smite,
yeah,
so just runs at him and fights him.
Trying to hit Dandy to push him away so that he can get the minion is nice stun.
Ooh. Big stun, double stun coming out to stop Caveman from jumping forward and getting the shield up. It's easyhoon going aggressive with no items, getting the Hemo Plague down onto Tank and SOFM, ghosting at them and charging on forward, trying to see if he can get a pick. Does force the flash out of Tank.
Still without a recall, easyhoon. Full health back in this lane, and such is the nature of the Vladimir, has been outright dismantling Tank.
Even forcing SOFM to hold this lane and this wave in the mid lane. There's a flash being burned on the top side of the map. Lung forcing Eku to get back to the safety of his own turret.
A lot of summoners missing. Right now there's an opportunity for Dandy to look either top or mid lane because both Tank and Flandre do not have their escape summoners available.
And forcing armor out of Flandre as well, not having a great time in this lane, usually indicated by that purchase. Of course, 2 Doran's Blades seen by Lung. Lane focus with his item choices.
Feels like the initial shove was in favor of Snake, and now the tides have turned. Dandy now offered a lot more space to contest SOFM on the top side of the map, especially through these summoner disadvantages and purchases.
Tank's going to take down blue buff for himself. Snake give that one over towards their mid laner. He's looking to see if he can roam towards the top side of the map. A big pink ward being placed down by Lung spots him out.
So the big thing to me at this stage in the game is actually Dandy and SOFM. Polar opposites to what we saw in the previous games. A lot of farm disparity between the two, and Dandy's being kept down quite well.
He's picked up the Hextech Gunblade, and the Hextech Revolver to start off as Vladimir. Looking for the Protobelt probably as his first item, or one of his first items.
Snake have been so much better about maintaining control and dominance over their jungle. You can see that in the 2 pink wards, especially the one that they also just cleared out. They're making sure that Dandy doesn't get any free information about SOFM, so doing a much better job hiding their all-star jungler.
Yeah, that was a coveted red buff. The crown jewel of SOFM's jungle.
Speaking of SOFM, he's about 20, or close to 20 CS up ahead of Dandy. His counter jungling really been paying off so far. We're checking some stats about Vladimir for easyhoon, and this kind of just shows why he doesn't get the champion. You can see all his stats above average, above everyone else in the LPL.
Yeah, averages 30% damage to champions out of his team per game. When he plays the Vladimir, the league average is 27%.
He's a big deal. That's the TLDR of the Vladimir easyhoon.
Well, he's done most of his team's damage in both games they've played so far. We're going to try and do the exact same thing on the Vladimir here, but still a very quiet game between the two teams.
Waiting for something to break here, and honestly it's between the junglers of both of these teams as per usual.
I feel like it's more so onus on Snake, however, just because they have the big hard CC and the mid lane to work with, whereas Vici are more reliant on the Mega Gnar as well as the Ash Arrow. Now they do have Cask on Dandy himself, but...
And thankfully it's not a QSS.
Instead, a Negatron Cloak this time, Rusty.
I need Tank to move from this lane. It's very difficult against easyhoon. You can see that in the CS discrepancy, the fact that this Vladimir has just been bullying him across the map. But I need Tank to move.
Well, then I think SOFM needs to be involved in allowing that, because yes, Tank has wave clear, but easyhoon's running at Tank.
SOFM moving towards the top side of the map. Long might get caught by this power lock conversions. Does mid-jump, still in mid-air as he does get stunned up. SOFM tanks up the turret, Long incredibly low, and first blood's going to be picked up by Flandre.
Again, the onus was on Snake to make the play in one of their lanes, so finally SOFM with that carry jungler feels he's strong enough to make a roam up top, and now Dandy caught on Krugs.
And they're trying to collapse on top of him, has to body slam over the wall, and will get back to safety. Finds a pink ward, takes that down as well. But still, first blood and first turret again being picked up by Snake.
Big bonus this time around for Snake because there's no trade available. That was just a raw gank through laning phase. SOFM getting Flandre going means that one of the big carry threats of Snake is now well and truly available. And as far as Game 3 is concerned, this is all Snake.
Big swing of power as well, picking up that first brick on top of first blood. So a much healthier position than Snake have pretty much been in this entire series.
Vici trying to respond by taking down a Mountain Dragon for themselves 11 minutes into the game. Very similar to where we saw the Infernal Dragons fall last game.
Yeah, no ability to be contested here from Snake. They were topside and also about 7,000 wards in the enemy jungle. Is that they can lock that one down. It's nice, but it's not a gold value. So at this stage, Vici are just holding on for their lives, trying to scale and hit their team composition stride, but until that stage, Snake are in the driver's seat.
And we talked about the bridging power of their compositions, the fact that SOFM has the baton right now. Eventually he will start to pass this over into Flandre and Tank's hands.
Does reveal though, the next dragon that spawns is going to be another Infernal Dragon. Can't seem to quite get enough of those.
They like to fight.
Endless and Caveman farming underneath their turret. Crystal and Jay-Z doing what they can to push this into the turret as fast as they possibly can and as much as they can.
We're about to find potentially SOFM. Dandy was in the area and Caveman's on a pink ward looking to stop him from getting bottom.
Yeah, he wants to get bottom and he wants to place a ward. So
Tank's here.
Yeah, Tank was initially in the mid lane, so they're either looking for getting Tank to roam down underneath the vision or to place a ward so he can teleport down.
And the turret is fairly low as well. SOFM tries to jump in and get as much damage on the turret as possible. Just from first blood and first turret alone, Snake are now at 3,000 gold in the lead over Vici.
And that's definitely a proto belt, as you can see, but Flandre making the first big move. Has been spotted.
Trying to stop him, gets it for himself.
He didn't get over the wall.
Even that doesn't get over the wall, doesn't even use the ultimate to get away. Has to use it just to get some help and forces the flash out of Flandre. Big rotation coming out from Long.
Disaster. Nothing short of a disaster. It was a good move from Flandre, but he did it with no wards. He has one below the red buff to try and spot somebody coming up towards it in case Easy Hoon goes missing. Didn't even see the Gnar.
Just good heads-up play from Long as well to expect that there's so much attention being paid to the bottom lane because Snake are prepping for a possible threat of a dive with Lissandra to try to go for the cheeky red buff steal.
Yeah, I mean, the assumption could be that he's in base as well, but instead it's Flandre. I'm not going to lie, if I was playing against Flandre, I'd check the red buff. I'd check every buff on the way to it.
SOFM looks to take down red buff for himself. We'll be able to pick that one up. Danny was threatening to try and go over the wall and pick it up for himself, but decides not to, just cleans out the pink ward instead. Tank will be sent on over towards his own blue buff and takes that down. Still sitting on his boots of lucidity as well as the Negatron cloak.
There is a superior rotation coming out of Easy Hoon right now to make it down to the bot lane. They know that a pink ward was just cleared out by Dandy, but instead looks like he's going to grab the farm. I was going to say they had the inside track bottom.
Yes. So I love the LPL. I don't even care if he's Korean. I love the LPL because he's so aggressive.
That's forced him to stay in this lane a little while longer. Let's see if he can make take most of... Can't do words anymore. Take advantage of that situation.
We still have another best of 5 fish, so pull it together.
It's going to be a long day.
Only a Snake win this game. I am still a little bit concerned for them, to be perfectly honest with you.
As am I. Easy Hoon has already shown that he's got complete control of this mid lane.
Yeah, as we look at the Vladimir, that is the exact cause of my concern. His scaling is controlling tank, and one big thing that we haven't mentioned, Endless is playing well, Lung's playing well. It doesn't feel like Tank is. It actually feels like he's a little bit lacking ever since that first game.
Crystal there threads the needle behind the Bronze Shield to get the double proc on towards Endless. Good trades coming out from their bottom lane. Both junglers are down on the bottom side of the map. Dandy will spot out this pink ward and see that SOFM is down here to help out the rest of his team.
But Snake has to be so careful here because they know that the arrow is available, and that's what Endless is looking for. He's just finger on the trigger ready.
Now, there could be 5 people bottom at any moment for both of these teams, except that this is a good opportunity for Dandy to look mid.
Yeah, gank the teleport because you know that your Vladimir can't follow it. So make sure that Lissandra goes down.
Yeah, all right.
Finds him, eventually gets the body slam off.
Say good day, run away.
Sums it up. It's proto belt being used by Easy Hoon again just to get back to safety.
Or the look and book, we could call it. Because you look and then you book it.
There is going to be a window for Snake to go aggressive here because Meganar's down.
But they're looking to try and lock down SOFM. The ultimate as well as the concussive blows coming out. He's been locked down, tries to flash aggressively forward. Endless goes over the wall. He gets the invulnerability. Snake, they're going to now lock down everyone from the side of Vici as Tank and SOFM pick up a kill.
The big thing here is the fact that Easy Hoon was low health over the initial trade in the mid lane, as well as Long had just lost his Meganar up into the top side of the map. So even if he followed through with the teleport, he wouldn't be at full power. So great call from Snake to say we have all of the cards on our hand.
Such is the power of the Taric as well. The invulnerability, I actually think that SOFM would have died there if it wasn't for Jay-Z. His use of the ultimate, so well done from Snake individually to work the team play.
Not just the invulnerability, the stun coming out as soon as Endless tried to flash away. Keeping SOFM alive that little bit longer.
And Tank shows up as an end result. The mid laner Lissandra able to roam. Has the teleport advantage in the lane also, and finally we get to see Tank show up.
And that's given Snake a 5,000 goal lead over Vici here. Incredibly strong start for them in game number 3. Seems like what they've changed heading into pick bands has really worked out for them so far. But they still have this Vladimir to deal with in the mid lane, who's been left untouched, looking towards his Spirit Visage as his next item. Already has the Merc Threads, as well as that Hextech Proto Belt.
Vladimir's still incredibly dependent on big 5v5 scenarios before he really starts popping off. So the more that Snake can continue to make these picks and these skirmishes, the longer they can keep Vici down from their strong 5v5.
Well, there's a first mount on the top side of the map that's been picked up by a long Flandre to go for the Iceborne Gauntlet. So all the Echoes we've seen today not opting to go for the Trinity Force. Is, speaking of Flandre, he's moved in towards the mid lane here, trying to get a gank on towards Izihun. He uses the Sanguine Pool to just get back to safety of his turret.
Yeah, Izihun will be perfectly fine. It's less about them fighting mid lane. It's more that he's rotated down for the Drake.
That Dragon is up and available. Snake have started this off. Vici, they're not going to give it up without a fight because they're charging on towards the pit. Dragon slow, does get taken away by SOFM. Arrow lands on towards Crystal. That's a Mega Gnar trying to get into the back lines. Big Mega Gnar roll takes down Crystal immediately. Snake now fighting without their K, but SOFM has nothing to say about this. Takes down Endless, puts in the shotgun pellets to the face. Izihun now's in trouble as 3 members of Snake deal with the Vladimir. Dandy going to find SOFM. Does get the one-on-one outplay, but still with Snake that trade 2 for 3.
Big move from Dandy, but it's not enough, and Flandre's still looking for a flank. That's the body slam gone.
He's going in, parallel convergence under the turret, doesn't stun up Caveman and puts up the shield to stop the timeline there. But still, big team fight coming out of Snake.
Too little too late for Vici on their engagement. They had the Mega Gnar prepped and ready. They hit the key arrow onto Crystal, but this composition isn't the Karma comp that we saw from game number 2. They've got damage threats across the board and just rip Vici apart.
Yeah, again, really impressive stuff. Unfortunately, as we do get to see this replay, the Gnar doesn't bounce off anybody's head trying to go in, so it was a little bit delayed, honestly. He was looking to bounce off SOFM, who had flashed. The Gnar does connect, and so does the keg from Dandy, but it feels like that's everything they have to offer. SOFM was inside the Drake pit, left completely uncontested. Just comes out and blows everyone up.
And let's even being locked down there. Dandy does get a cute outplay here.
The fact that he stunned him on the wall as well was enough to get the barrel afterwards. Very close to dying, Dandy.
But still with that, they get the Infernal Dragon as well and increase their gold lead slightly. Still about 5,000 a bit in advantage of the teleport. Coming in deep into the bottom lane. Tank looking to cut off Endless. Finds him, locks it now with the claw. Arrow being used by Endless, trying to go toe-to-toe, but there's a Flandre right behind him and Snake get a pick in the bottom lane.
And suddenly Tank's confidence looks revitalized, making a nice pick play across map. Needed to see more of this, but welcome to the series. Better late than never.
That's exactly what that is. It feels like his momentum booster has been enough in this game. It is only still about 5,000 between the two. And with no turrets taken by Vici, there is an abundance of standing gold, honestly, for them to take. It's just about getting there, and to get past this near impenetrable Snake team, it's going to be tough.
This is the gold graph for this game. Snake just amassing victory after victory so far in these team fights and taking down these structures as well. Izihun.
Oh! The fadeaway shot from SOFM.
Nailed it.
And that's going to be 2 structures dropping. So Snake, they know that they're strong right now, and they're immediately transitioning to the structures.
This K-Man actually looking for a fight. Dandy forced to use the ultimate. There's the ultimate coming on attack just to keep everyone alive. SOFM with the invulnerability goes in. Takes down JZ. This man is coming out huge.
Someone hit the structure.
As he's still going in. Endless has to flash away from the towering stun. SOFM almost gets jumped on by Dandy, but Flandre is here. Locks down Dandy. Endless is the only man left alive. He has no summoner spells, and he's got a big Echo on top of him, who gets a double kill, and that's an ace for Snake.
Completely revitalized look now to this Snake roster. At 21 minutes into this game, they start breaking the base of Vici. It's pretty much at a point already this early in where I don't know what Vici can actually even do.
We take a look at a replay of that last on the top side of the map, actually.
So the 1v1 solo kill that we missed on the opposite side of the map. Tank dodging out from long right there. He does manage to get the Mega Gnar, but not enough as Tank dodged the...
Wallop.
There's the word. Thank you.
Pretty stylish from Tank.
And that's given Snake an 11,000 gold. I believe this is the biggest lead that either team has had in this series so far. A very dominant performance in game number 3. Very huge contrast from what we've seen so far in this best of 5 series, which looked like Vici were in control the entire time.
Yeah, they've had their wee picks for this game number 3.
And it's not just Vici losing on these team fights, it's also losing out on the rotations. The fact that Snake were able to beat them so handily into the mid lane, push easyHoon out, and transition that into an inhib.
They're looking for a pick though, as they force the flash and on the hunt out of Crystal, as well as they teleport to be cancelled by Flandre. Arrow doesn't connect, but that's Dandy as well as easyHoon's flash down.
And ultimate's gone from the Vladimir and the Ashe, so that's actually a lot missing, and a big window of opportunity for Snake to make some plays. Teleports aren't up, unfortunately for them, but they are 1-3-1ing and looking at the Baron.
They sweep out the wards. Dragon's also coming up in the next minute. Not just an Ocean Dragon.
Still giving a lot of respect.
So they put down a pink ward and spot out Dandy, Caveman, and easyHoon. And Snake just continue to barrel through this mid lane, push up with the super minions, and force Vici to their side of the map.
It's also what they've been doing in the side lanes that's more important. As you can see, Endless being pulled to the top side of the map. It's not just pushing the super creeps forward in mid, it's creating big waves in top and bottom, and opening up more space and opportunity for Snake.
Still no Spirit Visage for easyHoon. He's been on that for quite a while. His healing's just not quite there yet, so in these team fights, he's doing some damage, but it's not enough.
Flandre just doesn't care about turrets at the moment. Jumps straight on top of the front liner of Long, who's about to go mega, but Snake don't care. Dandy forces Caveman now going to try and jump in and stop this, but Flandre just doesn't care. Jumps straight back into the back lines. Now easyHoon wants a piece of the action. Uses the Protobelt to get forward. Flandre going to take a bit of damage here. Endless going to try and chase him down.
He has arrow.
Can lock down the front line if he chooses to do so, but Vici do lose their turret, and Snake just playing with their foot at the moment.
Yeah, so they have to do back away. Long needed to go mid lane to deal with the minions that were starting to push in. Gives an opportunity for Snake to back away, play the easy game, and they're playing Vici style League of Legends now. Slow, calm, winning.
And they move straight back towards the Ocean Dragon, take that down, immediately head back to base and pick up more items for themselves.
Does mean that with the bottom objective taken, that they can start moving all of their vision towards that top side and the Baron, which is why Vici are trying to race over here to make sure that they can get their wards placed down, get control of this area.
Yeah, speaking of straight to Baron, that's absolutely where they should be going. Also, the middle lane inhibitor, once again, is the only one to go down. The quickest to rotate towards the Baron from, as your team can walk through the middle lane as you clear it out and go straight up the river. This could be the throw pit, but with a 12,000 gold advantage, I would be shocked if it is.
Flandre picks up a blue buff for himself. He's 6-0-2 with a Magi Soul Steel as well as the Iceborne Goldland Spirit Visage. Zeta Zonya's Hourglass to be picked up by Tank to go with the Abyssal Scepter and Hextech Protobelt.
Let's just say if Vici win a fight, it's a 1 in a million.
Let's see if they can. Arrow as well as Body Slam, both whiffing coming out from Vici here.
That's almost a death sentence.
1 in 2 million.
So they're still looking to sweep out as many wards as possible before starting on this. Caveman getting it collapsed on, forced to flash over the wall. Flandre just follows him over the top. Powerlock Conversion's not going to be able to lock him down, but Caveman's got nowhere to run, and Snake get a pick on towards Vici support.
And they lose Caveman's life almost needlessly because Endless was sitting on the blue trinket. There wasn't any reason that the support had to extend that far forward to try to get vision over the pit.
Snake now marching on towards the first inhibitor turret. Dandy going to get locked down by Tank on the sidelines. The turret falls with ease. The second inhibitor for Snake is going to go down as well. Endless can't quite get into the pit to fight this one. Long almost going mega, but no opportunity to go in. easyHoon trying to jump in, gets locked down. Forced to use the Sanguine Pool to get out of the ultimate coming out from Tank. But still, Snake get what they were looking for, which is the top lane inhibitor.
It was impeccable Sanguine Pool timing, to be perfectly honest with you, to not get ulted by Tank, or he could have died. So easyHoon does live. Snake don't get the Baron, but they get a second inhibitor for their troubles, and this is just getting infinitely more difficult for them. Look at the vision that Snake have in comparison.
Vici have vision over their blue buff in the bottom lane. That's it. And that's from the 2 pink wards they placed down previously. No vision all around this Baron buff. Just helping Snake out tremendously in getting these picks and also allowing them to push for more objectives. Finally, easyHoon is being able to pick up his Spirit Visage, but although the Vladimir was left untouched for so long, the rest of the map is just scaled up ahead of him.
Yeah. That's really just the problem. So easyHoon was not the reason that they lost this game. It's just nothing else happening. 0-4 Endless at the moment. maybe this is the time where you put in Xuan P afterwards.
I also think eyes do have to be on Dandy. SOFM certainly got the superior jungle matchup this time around, executed on it better. You can see that in his scoreline. I mean, Dandy did what he could, but if you have an Ash Arrow sitting in one lane and an R ultimate sitting in the other, you should be utilizing those.
And he's looking a lot more confident on the Graves as well.
This is trouble.
Deep teleport coming in. Endless forced to use the arrow on towards Flandre, who just gets immediately out of that crowd control. Instead, they lock down Easy as well as Caveman. Crystal getting a lot of damage out to Sivir. Endless are next to fall, and vulnerability comes out for Snake, so they just dive through these turrets. Lung's gonna fall. Easy is the next target, and everyone from the side of Vici is just getting obliterated. He gets to the safety of his founds, but 4 members of his team have fallen, and now Snake are definitely gonna look for the win here.
They've got the quick waves pushing in.
They're pushing on towards the turrets. The first one's going to fall. Only Easy who left alive to defend this, and he can't. Snake fight back in game number 3, and they're going to take us to game number 4, ladies and gentlemen.
A completely different look from Snake this time around. We said that the Malzahar needed to go. They addressed that issue, took it off the board, and looked much more comfortable and confident, particularly in that mid lane. Tank a bit slow to start, but as soon as he was unlocked, able to roam around, get involved with those team fights, he really started to shine.
Yeah, it's safe to say that at match point with their backs against the wall, Snake got it back together severely and actually just took apart Vici in the same way that games 1 and 2 went the opposite way.
And this is what we said about these rosters, you know, pound for pound, talent for talent at the very beginning. If you look across Snake's roster, they have more talent and more positions. If you look at Vici, it's all about those superstars. But if Dandy gets shut down, if Easyhoon is neutralized, Vici fall apart at the seams. They need Long and Endless to step up, and frankly, Endless fell down.
Still Snake hanging on at match point right now, because Vici did pick up those first 2 games. We check in with some of the highlights of that first match. Started with this, SOM and gank in the top lane. First blood picked up for his team, as well as that first turret gold.
Sometimes it can be a little bit deceptive when you don't respect an Echo stun and then try to jump, and then this was big plays from the Taric and SOFM.
Nice to see Taric finally used correctly in the LPL and pick up a win for himself. And SOFM actually looks incredibly confident with Taric. That wasn't the only time that he charged forward with that invulnerability.
This is where things almost looked good for Vici. Flandre caught out, he killed Crystal right off the bat. But look at SOFM, he's just killing 3 people all by himself.
Yeah, that was honestly the difference here, because the health bars of Snake were quite low. They even knocked away Jay-Z from the rest of his team after the Gnar ult connected. And it was close, but they were just not doing enough damage here on the side of Vici.
I like the fadeaway style.
And this was just desperation coming out from Vici. They tried to pick a fight they couldn't take. Vulnerability comes out from Taric, and SOFM goes, yep, I'm diving through everyone right now.
Again, and he is the only one that's so confident to do that. If you looked at the rest of Snake, they actually backed up or disengaged. So still not on the clear page with SOFM, because he's charging forward, they're stepping back, but definitely knows how to use the power of Taric.
And the only man left alive was going to be Endless, who just gets swiftly taken down by Flandre. SOFM almost dies to the top, but that's not the case. And then the final flank coming out here cuts off Endless, and the rest of the team try to help him. That's too little too late. Vici just lose all their carries, and the Taric and vulnerability just lets them dive through the turrets as well.
Yeah, still does a lot of work against that Vladimir, so a clutch pick honestly from Snake in that last game.
Ridiculous damage out of Flandre on that Echo.
Yeah, doing the most damage of his team in that match. That's with a Sivir, a Graves, as well as a Lissandra in your team. This time around, Crystal's not the one that tops the damage chance for Snake.
Had Mejai's as well by the end of the game, had a lot of stacks on those Mejai's. Flandre put in work, and genuinely, I think the whole team stepped up.
We can take a look at the MVP for that match. It's going over towards SOFM. The Vietnamese jungler himself puts his team in the back and brings it to game 4 for Snake.
And this is perfect, because the big point that I wanted to bring up is that Dandy was unable to find SOFM and disrupt him as well as get done in game number 1 and game number 2. And I think that was the big defining difference between Snake finding the hinge on which their victory stems on.
It looks like early game, like the first 5 minutes of the game, starts to dictate who has control of the map, and the mid-game fights around these objectives generally just come down to who has that control first, who is winning the game, and it feels like they're just winning the entire game from that moment.
And this time around, SOFM on that Graves looked a lot more like how he likes to play the map. You know, invading very aggressively on towards Dandy, finding him where he can, and using that advantage he gets early to be aggressive in these team fights like we saw then. Easyhoon he tried his best in the Vladimir, but the rest of the map just fell apart around him.
It's also the fact that Tank was was able to unlock himself from that lane, start making plays, particularly that bottom teleport play. Easy Hoon, I mean, he's had Malzahar, Vladimir. Both those champions run the Flash Ghost, so he's not running the double teleport. He doesn't really have this reputation of showing up in the bottom lane or showing up in the top lane to swing power for his team anyway, but he can't lose control of Tank like that.
Yeah, and again, no teleports being taken. Lissandra's something that he can play. I think that if they really want to now, they can reassess what they should be playing in that middle lane. The Vlad was fine, the Malz was great, but if you put him on something with a teleport, something that can rotate around the map, you can actually combat what Snake are putting into effect here and maybe slow down that snowball.
But the switch up in draft coming out from Snake in game number 2 didn't work. Game 3 it finally has paid off. What can we expect to change now? Because Vici had so many powerful picks from game 1 and 2 taken away from them in game 3.
It wasn't just the draft, it was also on SOFM finally doing something. Again, showing up first, or in the top tower to pick up first blood with his Echo. You know, Long was ahead of Flandre for a large portion of that laning phase, you know, bullying him away from that red buff, forcing Flandre to flash over the wall, and Dandy frankly just didn't show up when his top laner had the advantage.
Yeah. Well, with that, Snake take us to game number 4 and trying to find the reverse sweep in the first match of the Regional Gauntlet qualifier. We're going to a very quick break. We'll be back with game 4 in just a bit.